ready for short horror stories that will make you scream or cringe in discomfort. The shadow of Ravenswood Asylum in the depths of the English countryside. There stood an institution so infamous that its very name sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened souls. Ravenswood Asylum, a place where the boundaries between sanity and madness were blurred, and the horrors that lay within its walls would forever haunt the memories of those who dared to venture near. Founded in 1850 by the brilliant but troubled Dr. Malcolm Witchwood, Ravenswood was designed as a revolutionary new approach to treating mental illness. Witchwood's innovative methods, which included experimental therapies and groundbreaking treatments, promised to bring hope to those suffering from the most debilitating of conditions. However, it soon became apparent that the doctor's zeal for his craft came at a terrible cost. Patients who entered Ravenswood's hallowed halls were often subjected to inhumane treatments, including lobotomies, electroshock therapy, and other forms of psychological manipulation. Those who resisted or rebelled against their conditions were met with brutal force, including physical restraints, isolation cells, and even forced medication. But it was not just the patients who suffered at Ravenswood's hands. Staff members, too, became increasingly entangled in Witchwood's web of madness. The doctor's obsessive personality and unyielding dedication to his work began to take its toll on those around him. As the years passed, the institution became a hotbed of psychological turmoil, with staff members succumbing to their own demons and succumbing to Witchwood's toxic influence. One such victim was Emily Wilson, a young nurse who joined Ravenswood's staff in 1875. Emily was a kind soul with a gentle touch and a compassionate heart. She quickly became one of the hospital's most beloved staff members, earning the respect and admiration of her colleagues. But beneath the surface, Emily was hiding a dark secret. Her own sister had been institutionalized at Ravenswood several years prior, after being diagnosed with schizophrenia. Emily had vowed to protect her sister from Witchwood's clutches. But as time went on, she began to realize that even she could not shield herself from the doctor's all-consuming madness. As Emily delved deeper into the mysteries of Ravenswood, she discovered a labyrinthine network of hidden passages, secret rooms, and cryptic journals belonging to Dr. Witchwood. The more she learned about her beloved sister's treatment at Ravenswood, the more Emily became convinced that something was terribly wrong. It began with small things: missing files, altered medical records, and cryptic messages scrawled in the margins of patient files. Emily tried to brush it off as mere paranoia, but as the occurrences grew more frequent and disturbing, she knew that something sinister was afoot. One fateful night, Emily decided to confront Witchwood about her findings. She tracked him down to his private office, where she found him hunched over a microscope, examining a sample of brain tissue from one of his most prized patients. "What have you been doing, Dr. Witchwood?" Emily demanded, her voice shaking with rage and fear. Witchwood looked up at Emily, his eyes blazing with an unholy intensity. "I am unlocking the secrets of the human mind, my dear nurse," he hissed, his voice dripping with malevolence. "And Sue, I will unlock the very gates of hell itself." As Emily watched in horror, Witchwood's eyes seemed to flicker with a dark energy, as if the very essence of madness was coursing through his veins like liquid fire. And then, in an instant, it was over. Witchwood's body went limp, and his eyes froze on Emily's face, locked into a permanent stare of terror. As she stumbled backward, Emily realized that she had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back at her. The years that followed were marked by chaos and destruction at Ravenswood Asylum. Witchwood's reign of terror came to an end when he was institutionalized himself, locked away in a padded cell for his own protection. But even as the hospital closed its doors for good, the shadow of Ravenswood continued to haunt the countryside. Patients who had survived their time within the asylum reported experiencing strange visions and auditory hallucinations long after they were released. Some claimed to have heard Witchwood's voice, whispering terrible things in their ears from beyond the grave. Others spoke of feeling an unseen presence lurking just out of sight, watching them with cold, calculating eyes. And then there were those who simply vanished. As the years went by, the locals began to whisper about a cursed place where the living and the dead walked hand in hand. And when Ravenswood Asylum finally burned to ashes in 1950, the legend of its horrors lived on, forever etched into the collective psyche of the town today. If you dare to venture near Ravenswood's crumbling walls, you may still feel the presence of Dr. Witchwood and his twisted legacy. Some say that on certain nights, when the moon is full and the wind howls through the abandoned halls, you can hear the whispers of the damned echoing from within. Others claim to have seen a shadowy figure lurking just beyond the edge of perception, watching with cold, calculating eyes as the living succumb to madness. And if you listen close, on certain nights when the darkness is at its thickest, you may still hear Dr. Witchwood's voice, whispering terrible things in your ear from beyond the grave. "I am unlocking the secrets of the human mind," he hisses, his breath cold and rank with malevolence. "And soon, I will unlock the very gates of hell itself." For at Ravenswood Asylum, madness was not just a disease, it was a doorway to something far more sinister. Thank you for joining me on this terrifying journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, some legends are more than just stories. Good night, and sweet dreams.